Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
That's it.
You see it?
That's it. Aaron Rodgers and the Pack are back. The NFC is over.
Yeah.
The Bucs are done.
Yeah, put them on
Isn't that right? Isn't that what you're going to say?
Notice? He put on Tom Terrific on notice, let you know.
I don't think so.
Aaron Rodgers had something to say about the criticism, the trolls. Let me break it down for you guys. We will talk about the Packers right now. Aaron Rodgers and the Pack, well, they overcame a slow start and halftime deficit last night as they steamrolled the Lions 35-17. The reigning MVP looked like his old self, throwing for 4 touchdowns and only 5 incompletions on the night. And after the game, Rodgers told reporters, quote, "There's so many overreactions that happen on a week-to-week basis, so it's nice to come out, have a good performance, and get the trolls off our back for at least a week." So, Shannon, give Rodgers a letter grade for last night.
I gave him a big old fat C. That's what I gave him, Skip, because I think...
Wait a minute. You're the president. No, you used to be the president of the fan club. You're not anymore, right?
I call it I'm right down the middle. I call it like I see it.
Really?
I thought Aaron Rodgers did what I expected him to do against not a very good football team. What does Fox Bet have him at? 5 wins? So this is a team that he should... Detroit. Yeah, this is a team he should have come out and did what he did. Skip, I'm not rewarding a college senior that graduated magna cum laude with winning a 5th grade spelling bee. That's what you should do. So for me, Aaron Rodgers coming out throwing for 4 touchdowns on 22 of 27 for 200 and 38, 45 yards, whatever, 55 yards, whatever it was, that's what I expected him to do against a team that's not very good. And so he did what I expected. But I think the thing is, Skip, and I tweeted last night, the reason why the Packers tolerated Aaron Rodgers' bull jive this offseason is that 2 throws. The chimney throw to Devontae Adams on 3rd down, and I think 3 or 4 plays later, he came back to Tunyon. Sorry. We've been calling him Tunyon. It's Tunyon. I heard the enunciation after the game. It's Tunyon.
I'm still not sure about that, but I thought it was Tunyon, but what do I know?
Steve Levy said Tunyon.
Now they all started saying it last night.
So I'm going to go with...
I think that was a runaway train that went completely off the tracks, but go ahead.
Okay. It was throws like that, Skip, and you see this throw right here. This is what we call a chimney throw. He's dropping the ball down the chimney. Call him Santa Claus, because he couldn't get down the chimney himself, so he just dropped the presents down the chimney. And then here it is again. He winds it up, lets it go. That's a perfect. Devontae, that's a handoff. And here's the throw right here against 2-man, right down the bam. So those 2 throws were sensational. But as an overall grade, Skip, I mean, they really... what do you want me to give him, an A for that? No. I think there was an overreaction to the game that he played opening day against the Saints in Jacksonville, and everybody talking about he was done. You see all the controversy that happened off season. He wasn't ready to play, and then he comes back with a bounce-back performance, and everybody's like, see, I told you Aaron Rodgers was fine. No. I'm staying right here. Aaron Rodgers did exactly what I expected him to do. And sometimes even great players have bad games, like he had game 1. So I'm not going to go. Y'all not finna have me stock market up and down, up and down.
Really? Well, does that mean you would extend your flat line into the playoffs and say, I'm not going to get too high or low because he's always low in the playoffs?
No, Skip, Here's the thing. Now, he goes out and does that against one of these, the Rams, or he does that against one of these top-flight teams. Okay, now I'm going to give him some kudos. I'm going to give him credit. But I'm not giving you credit for something that I expected you to do. And he normally has these bounce-back performances. I think they showed it on the screen. He has a bad performance and the next week, Skip, he throws 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Has a bad week this week, and the next thing you know, he's playing the Texans, throwing 4 touchdowns with no interceptions. So I think this was expected of Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not about to get too high. I didn't write him off when he played bad opening week, and I'm not saying he's the second coming since he had a bounce-back week.
Okay, my turn. On my favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, the LeBron James of the National Football League.
There you go.
The biggest diva, the biggest blame-deflecting finger pointer in the National Football League is number 12 for the Green Bay Packers. He is the drama king, and he dramaed our king the whole offseason. to the point of indigestion where I just I was getting actually physically ill having to talk about him day after day on this show. But he is back, and now they are back. And to your point, I do concur with your assessment of the night. I just want to remind everybody that the Detroit Lions in their opening day game at home against San Francisco, at home.
Right.
They were down 41-17 with 1:53 left in the game. Just to keep this in some perspective,
right.
41-17 with 1:53. They rallied furiously in that game, but unsuccessfully. And they have now fallen to 0-2. And despite having some young players that look like they could turn into nice little pieces for that team, they lost Jeff Okudah in the opener to a torn Achilles. And then they lost that kid, how do you say his name? Melifosu, the rookie. Yeah. Well, he got hurt on the chimney throw.
Right, yes.
And he's just a rookie, a third-round pick out of Syracuse. But when I watch him, I see flashes of not greatness, but goodness, where he could be
a solid starter for 8-10 years in this league.
Yeah, and he hurt his quad somehow as he made the tackle on Devontae on that throw. Okay, so in the biggest picture, when I talk about Aaron Rodgers, he is now 37 going on 38 years of age. He's obviously highly decorated in this league. One of the all-time great quarterbacks. Obviously, he's probably risen into, I don't know, at least the top 10 so far.
Yeah, you'd have to put him there.
So now you have to assess him. From this point forward, all that matters to me is what does he do for you in the postseason? Right. Because he made such a stink through the offseason that now the onus, the focus is all on the post. Yeah. Because I'm going to remind everybody, he fell to 1-4 in NFC Championship games by stinking up the fourth quarter of the game against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers at Lambeau Field in the NFC Championship game this past season. 1-4. By the way, Tom Brady is now 10-4 in
this
AFC,
is not about,
NFC.
We're going to talk about Tom Brady.
No, you always bring up Brady or you bring up Kevin Durant. We're talking about LeBron. I just want to frame Aaron's achievement by saying he's 1-4 in championship games while Brady is 10-4. So Brady has 9 more championship game wins.
But the thing is, Skip, is that if you do it like that, everybody else seems mediocre. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning.
That's his lot in life. That's who he is.
But that's what I'm saying.
He is paired with Tom Brady right now.
But to say because he's not 10-4 like Brady, therefore he's not any good. Peyton Manning is not 10-4. Joe Montana is not 10-4. That's not true.
Okay. Well, I just want to frame it with the fact that Aaron Rodgers went to one Super Bowl long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, 10 years ago, and he won it against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I give you credit for that. But since then, I don't give you credit for 7 and 8 in the playoffs since the Super Bowl. Okay. And when I look at the 7, we start to look at, could this be that it was the Des caught it game? And
which they won?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but Des caught it. I mean,
he didn't catch it.
No,
Stop
he did.
saying
Well,
that.
he did catch it, and we were going to win that game and go on to Seattle. We'd already beaten them in the regular season. We were Super Bowl bound. If you make the call, what did the referee call it on the field? Touchdown.
Hold on, but
right under his nose, he called a touchdown, and it was, and you got away with that, right?
You have replay. You have review.
All right, and then you got Kirk Cousins, and you got what's his name, Joe Webb. Joe Webb? You mean Joe Webb? He's a receiver playing quarterback for the Vikings. You're kidding me. And then there was the Giants, the Odell boat trip game, and they came up there and they were not ready to play. You took advantage of that. Then you got the Mason crossbar game where Mason Crosby saved your bacon with those 2 intergalactic field goals at
Didn't he get him in
Jerry
field
World?
goal range?
Okay.
Now, you just gave me, hold on.
But
which one of those field goals was longer than the one Greg Zuerlein kicked on Saturday?
Was that a playoff game?
No, but I'm just saying, you gave Dak credit. Talk about Dak did what he's supposed to. My $75 million man got him in field goal range.
Well,
okay.
The second one was that far. It was 56 yards.
Okay.
51 and 56, but they were the ugliest looking, weirdest looking, most inexplicable field goals I have ever seen in my life because I can't even figure out how either one of them made it over the crossbar.
What do you say about Kawhi's shot? You've never seen a shot from the corner.
I thought we weren't bringing up other things.
No, but I'm just saying. That's
We're doing apples to oranges. It was the luckiest shot I've ever seen.
But did it count?
Yep,
Okay.
it counted. And he won the championship by hook or crook. But he did. I give you that. Okay. And then we go all the way down to the playoff game that they won last year. Jared Goff's got a pin in his throwing thumb, and Aaron Donald's got cracked ribs. And I can't give you a lot of credit for that one, right?
Skip, injuries are a part of football.
Okay, so what about 6 out of 7 games is like, yeah. Well, let's see. Of the 7 you've won, 6 of 7 are tainted to me. They have asterisks by them.
Well, since we're doing tainted, which we'll talk about tainted, which we'll talk about a little late in date and time, dealing with Spygate. Okay. But what about last night? What did you think about his performance last night?
I thought it was shaky in the first half, and if we could see one throw that he made to Valdez-Scantling, who wound up catching 0 passes in this game, which is not a good sign.
Right.
If we could see this throw at the end of the first half, what is that? Like that was just bad. That's like
man
bad.
Got pressure. You do not see that pressure?
I don't see any pressure. Oh, come on. That's Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Off-platform. Mr. I don't care about my footwork. You can't even come with that. What are you doing? He threw it like a yard behind him and 3 feet too low.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, was that not a poor throw from Aaron?
I said it was a poor throw, Skip.
All right.
He missed him a couple of some deep balls also.
In the first half, he was a little shaky because I think they were feeling some pressure because against New Orleans, they got annihilated, and he played the single worst game, I thought, of his whole career.
Okay.
Of all the games I've ever seen, I've never seen him play worse. Right. And he threw a couple of what I call what-the-hell interceptions where you just threw it up for grabs.
But Skip, I thought last night is that the Lions came out, did a great job of putting pressure on the Packers offense early because Jerry Goff was going right down the field, and without Zadarius Smith, they couldn't generate any pressure early. So Goff had all day to pat the ball, and he was finding guys open.
I got it. And I had one dear friend text me last night who's a longtime, from the heart Packer fan.
Yeah.
And he was like, is our new coordinator, Joe Barry, going to be the equivalent of your guy, Mike Nolan, who obviously got fired last year?
Joe Barry be going all over the place, and defense would be terrible wherever he goes.
And he still gets jobs.
I don't understand.
How do you get? That's what I texted right back. I said, I don't know how this man keeps getting jobs, right?
Yeah.
Because he was in Detroit, the coordinator of their defense when they went 0-16.
Yes.
Well, how is he the coordinator of the Packers now?
He's been a lot of places, and you go back and look at it. Google it, please, people at home, if you think we're lying.
Yep.
Look at Joe Barry defenses and see where they finished at the end of the year.
Yep.
And somehow, guess what? A year or two later, he pops up as another DC.
Get it? Well, it's like Mike Nolan. We look back at his record, and we said, look what happened here and here and here. He had the worst and the worst and the worst.
And I get it, Skip. If you were going to hire Joe Barry, you'd have came out better keep Mike Peyton. Now, I
totally buy that. I co-sign.
I get that you're upset that he played that defense right before the half and gave up a touchdown. You can't play that type of defense. Yep. But Mike Peyton's resume is more impeccable than Joe Barry's.
Okay. Now, let's frame the second half for Aaron Rodgers because they came out and they lit it up.
Yes.
But what does he have at his disposal, at his fingertips? He's got the best receiver in pro football. I don't care what anybody says. That guy's the best. I mean, night after night, day after day, I watch him, and he's just sensational. As a route runner, he has a little TO in him. He runs and plays with a good rage to him where he just terrorizes defenses because he knows he's the best, and Aaron just needs to get it in his zip code, and he's just going to snatch it and go with it. And he can run after catch. He's like CD. He is dangerous to me, and his mentality is dangerous to the opposition. And then that little man behind Aaron or to the side, what have I said to you? For years, I've said, the truth is, the unsung MVP of the Packers is the other Aaron. I love the other Aaron more than I love the real Aaron because the other Aaron, who I had the pleasure of meeting when we went to the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago down in Miami, he's such a good guy. He's just a good man through and through, and he plays so hard.
Right.
He is the best dual-purpose back in football, just on pure value, just on
you like you're better than Kamara and McCaffrey?
Yes. Wow. He just does so much for them, and he's so trustable. He'll get you big yards carrying. He'll go between the tackles and bang it in there, and he will get wide, and he has such a wavelength with Aaron on all those. He scored 3 touchdowns, and I think it's been on receiving touchdowns.
He might have scored 4. I think he got 3 receiving.
Yeah, but I mean, he got the 3 receiving. It's the first time a running back's had 3 receiving touchdowns in 6 years in the league. Well, it's it's special stuff because he is always right there riding shotgun. When you need a big play, he will make a big play. He can catch it down the field. I don't know. He's just, again, is he as gifted as Kamara? No. Is he as fast as Kamara? No. But listen, on pure value, he torments my Cowboys. He grew up a Cowboy fan.
Everybody does that to your Cowboys.
No, not everybody does it. Well, that's going to stop this year. But, but in the past, every time, he just loves to lay it on them because he grew up a Cowboy fan and wanted to play for the Cowboys like everybody wants to play for the Cowboys. Everybody does. You wanted to play for the Cowboys. Everybody does. That's everybody's dream that is usually unrealized.
No, that's not the case. But Skip, like I said, I'm not going to go overreact. I didn't overreact when he played bad in the first game against the Saints. Skip, I think every great player, quarterback, regardless of the position that you play, has had a game like Aaron had against the Saints opening day. Whether you're an offensive lineman, normally if you're an offensive lineman, you hate to have it because that means the quarterback
the shocker, the punchline to what happened on opening day was that same New Orleans that destroyed Green Bay turns around and gets destroyed by Carolina.
And I think we inflated it for the simple fact of what Aaron had going on all off season. Had he been the model citizen, showed up, played, practiced and did all those things.
But he wasn't.
He wasn't. So now that's the reason why. So what do we do now?
By the way, the great Shannon Sharpe took him to task just a few days back on last Wednesday, took him to task for not owning the loss.
I don't want to hear nothing about no we. I want to hear about you because it wasn't we in Hawaii. It wasn't we that got engaged. It wasn't we that was in Hawaii, taking all these pictures and you on the waterfall, the cascade.
I thought he took the whole team to Hawaii.
No, ain't no we. It was you. So I don't be talking about no we didn't get off to a great start. That is your responsibility as the captain and as the face of the team.
Got it. Now to great Aaron, and this is how he continues to hold Packer Nation hostage, in my view. What happens in the second half? Can we see first the sack? Because he gets rocked on a sack. Remember this. This is right before the chimney throw. This is what happens. They're in trouble. They're down here. They're trailing, and he runs right into a sack. And all of a sudden, as you know, it goes to 3rd and 12 at the 24. And then he does that. That's the next play. 3rd and 12. Well, that's not only guts, but that's a thing of beauty. And then he comes right back to Tunyon, whichever he is. It was a ton of a throw.
It was a ton.
Yeah. and it's just beautiful. So he gets sacked, and then he turns right around. That's guts. This is greatness. This is all-time greatness right here because you just got sacked, and it's 3rd and 12, and you were trailing the woeful Lions.
But Skip, why would you put a rookie in man coverage on Devontae?
I don't know. It's 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
You just figure.
No, Devontae had a rookie.
No, I got it. It looked like he had help from the safety. He was supposed to be over the top, and he didn't get there.
He can't get there on that throw.
He didn't get there. He did not get there. I don't know. I don't know, but it happened. I think they really liked the kid, and he was close. It was an all-time great throw. It's the best throw I've seen this year so far.
But here's the thing, Skip. But that guy can make that throw, Skip. That's not some just willy-nilly guy. That's not a rookie. That's not a second-year quarterback. He's built his reputation. He's made a name for himself. You don't win 3 MVPs without being able to routinely make that throw.
Nope, you don't. And all of a sudden, when he hit Tunyon for the touchdown, the floodgates just opened because they're the Lions.
Yeah, and because of why? Jared Goff started doing Jared Goff-type things.
It's rainy and wet and drizzly, and he fumbled the football.
Did you see that 4th down?
Yes, I did.
He takes the hardest throw. He has a guy sitting.
They on the telecast, they broke it down. He's got 2 receivers on the other side.
The guy's right in front of him, like, you are to me.
The guy who ran the hook is just throwing his hands up like, I'm standing, I'm wide open.
And he takes the harder throw at the bottom.
Because he locked in pre-snap on.
He made his mind up. I'm throwing this ball to Cephas at the bottom of the screen and didn't read the defense because he had a route just right there.
And wasn't it Jair Alexander over there?
Yes.
Well, that's their best corner.
Their best corner.
One of the best in the league.
But see, that's what happens, Skip. When you predetermine where you're going with the football before you read the defense, because it's like, well, he could have just run the football. Jared Goff is a quarterback that makes $30+ million a year. It's okay if he reads the defense.
Yep. Well, all I care about is what happened in the 4th quarter on that same field of the NFC Championship game. I can't get it out of my mind.
It happened. It's time to move on.
Yeah. Time to move on?
Yes.
I think that history teaches us, and we need to continue to keep it at top of mind. What happened?
What?
First and goal at the 8?
Skip, that was so long ago.
Was it?
Oh, my goodness.
It's ancient history.
I can't believe you.
I'm not sure we... Oh, wait a minute. Wait, we're showing it right now. I didn't know we even had it. Look at this. Look, what's that? That's to Devontae's double covered. Are you kidding? 3 straight bad throws?
Well, Matt LaFleur definitely did not ask Aaron, you want to go for it?
To Lazard? He just airmailed him, and then what was that? To Devontae, and then you say he should have run here.
Yes,
I don't think he would have made it, but you want to talk about a forced, desperate, chaotic gag throw?
Well, I can tell you this. Whew. Matt LaFleur did not ask Aaron, you want to go for it?
He did
Aaron,
not.
You
he
want to
said,
go for
Aaron,
it?
we're kicking it.
Exactly.
We're going to make it 31-26 with a field goal.
Because John Harbaugh said, LeBron, you want to go for it? Okay, go for it.
Yeah. No, he said, hell yeah.
So that's the thing, Skip.
If he'd asked Aaron would have said, I don't know.
You know, Aaron would not have said, Aaron wanted to go.
I don't know.
Aaron, because, Skip, a field goal, considering your defense, you would ask a lot of your defense to get you that ball back.
Well, you made the best point. At least if he runs, he might get it to the 2.
Right, yes.
And then maybe you got a shot on the
now fourth and goal from the 2 is a lot different than 4th and goal from the 8. Although I believe, given that was Aaron Rodgers and he had an MVP season, he was going to be the MVP.
Isn't it amazing how automatic Tom Brady is in the red zone? If you give Tom Brady 1st and goal at the 8, it's just over. It's going to be over on the first play. He just automatic. I've never seen anything like it before.
Back to Aaron Rodgers. I gave Aaron Rodgers a C last night because he did what I expect him to do against a team that I do not expect to be very well this year. So he's not getting no flowers. He's not getting a ball of perfume or anything like that from me. He's getting a pat on the back, said, good job, you won.
I appreciate that. You are starting to see the light.
Ain't no light to see, Skip. Ain't no light to see.
Seeing the light because Detroit's 0-2. Minnesota, unfortunately, Virginia is 0-2. And the Bears are 1-1 only because they got to play Cincinnati at home, right? Is it possible that this division has turned into even worse than the NFC least?
All I know is Green Bay All I know is Green Bay would beat the Cowboys.
Really?
You and I both know that.
I don't know that.
And Minnesota's going to beat the Cowboys because y'all play them this year, right?
I can't wait for that.
Do y'all play them this year?
Yes, at Minnesota, where we won last year with Andy Dalton. I think we're okay.
You won't win this year.
Yeah.
We need that game. We have had a rough start, guys.
Yes, you have.
So bad that we've barely mentioned him on the show, and that is not a good sign. All right, moving on for now.
No mercy.
Rob Gronkowski looks like he's back to his old self with 4 touchdown catches this season. But when talking with Peyton and Eli Manning last night, he had a surprising admission about how he prepares. Take a listen.
My teammate Cam Brait just asked me the other day, he goes, Rob, I have a serious question. He goes, do you ever watch film? And I said, no, I don't. I just run by guys. If I'm feeling good, I'm feeling good. So I don't know how to answer that, Eli. I don't watch film, but I do watch film when the team is showing it. I actually do go up to Tom because I know Tom watches 40 hours of film a week. I go, Tom, who's covering you this week? What type of coverages are they doing?
Very curious, Shannon. Is he being serious or silly here?
Silly. And then he might be, but it's hard for me to believe. Skip, he says, well, what coverage is this? Well, you have to understand study film to know what coverage it is. I'm sure Tom Brady's not telling you, hey, Gronk, it's cover 3. It's probably going to get cover 3. Or we're going to probably get cover 5. Or we're probably going to get cover 6. Or we're going to get quarters. I don't believe that. I don't believe Tom is telling him, okay, it's going to be cloud in this situation. There are certain nuances that one would need to understand. It's just like that play that he scored that touchdown on against that. He had to watch film to know that coverage. This is what I'm going to do.
You're talking about Donovan Wilson blitz.
Donovan Wilson blitz and D. Long's playing outside what we call a bare stretch. So he had to have watched film to know that situation. Okay, fine. And to play for Coach Belichick, I just find it very, very hard to believe that he played, 7, 8, 9 years for Coach Belichick, studied no film, and went out there and played it. Skip, I think that sounds good. Skip, we've all been with in college. And the person tells us, man, I ain't studied not one time for this week. I just partied all week, and they aced the test. Lo and behold, they had been studied. They might have not studied the night before, but they had been studying the whole week leading up to the test. It just sounds better. It gives it more, man, you think Gronk an all-century tight end, and he doesn't study film. I just don't believe it. It could be true, but I don't believe it. Knowing, having played that position, having to understand the nuances of what defenses are trying to do, Skip, down and distance, the coverages they're going to play, formationally, the coverages they're going to play, situation in the game, what they're going to do, Skip, you need to know all of that. They identify the mic. Okay, we got those 5 down guys and the mic. Okay, it's not scat protection. It's going to, instead of taking one guy to make me hot, it's going to take 2. How would I know that, Skip, if I don't study tape? And Coach Belichick strikes me as a guy kind of like Dan Reeves and Mike Shannon, my former coaches at Denver, Skip. They will quiz you. 84, what you got on this? Well, if you got this route, but if they do that, what are you going to do? Well, what happens if we check the blue Detroit?
You better do your homework.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, Skip, I just find it hard to believe. And everything Gronk said could be true. But I think Gronk is playing into the character of Gronk. A big, fun-loving guy, likes to party, likes to have a good time. And I think he's playing to that character. I just find it very hard to believe, having played this game at a super high level, that you can do that without studying tape.
So you, Mr. Sharpe, are in the Hall of Fame as a tight end.
I am.
So nobody knows the position any better than Shannon Sharpe knows the position.
Yeah, I like to think I know that position.
Did you study tape while you played for Denver and Baltimore?
Yes.
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 Did you ever study tape at home at night?
All the effing
All
time.
the time.
Yes.
And it drove you out of the game because you finally couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you knew that was the price that had to be paid to play at the level you played at, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's from a Hall of Fame tight end who has gotten to know a little bit. You've sat with Gronk before, and yet you've awarded him with the highest honor you could award somebody. You have called him the GOAT tight end,
Yes, I do believe that he is, yes.
The best tight end there ever was. Okay, so before I answer this question, I ask you one. Who now, to my eye, has the most commercials on national TV? What professional athlete has the most commercials? I think it's Rob Gronkowski. I do believe it because every time I look up, there's another new one for another product. I know Brady's sort of gotten in the commercial game post-Belichick, right?
Yes.
But I think Gronk is leading the league in commercials made because everybody loves the Gronk character that you referred to.
Yes.
The image that he has made of the big, silly, goofy, fun-loving
college frat type of a guy.
Let's party. Let's play football and party.
Right.
That's not what is happening because what was the book on Gronk for all those years under Belichick and with Brady? Savant.
Yes.
That nobody practices harder. Nobody has a higher football IQ than Gronk. Obviously, Brady's is up there, but for that position, that's all I ever heard from everybody inside the Patriots, coaches who had coached there that I got to know.
Yes.
Oh, do not underestimate that man's command of defenses.
Right.
That he gets it, knows it, sees it, and studies it just as hard as Brady studies it. So I just happened to be watching that last night because I'm sort of in awe of that new way to comment on Monday Night Football. And by the way, Eli and Peyton are great. They're just because they're actually brothers, you know, and they can play off each other and they can needle each other without the other. I don't know if they get mad off the air, but Eli really goes after Peyton in his forehead. And it's funny, but Gronk came on. They just drop in guess, which is a little off-putting for me because, you know, I'm a diehard, and so I need to kind of know play to play what's actually happening in the game.
That's not what they do, Skip. They got a totally different spin. They're not giving you play-by-play.
All of a sudden, Gronk pops up on the screen, and I am all ears. And I forgot about the game and lost a little touch with the game because he lit up their telecast.
Right.
Because that's what he can do. And he was very comfortable, obviously, with the two ex-quarterbacks. And he was having a blast. And he was taking it a little over the edge into exaggeration because, I'm sorry, I don't believe he never watches film. He tried to add the quick disclaimer. Now, I watch it when the team watches it because you have no choice if you're going to go in the tight end room and they're going to put on tape of various defenders. You have no choice. You're a captive audience, right? Does he take tape home? I'm going to say yes, that he does, more than you know.
Yes.
And yet it was funny, and he knows he's playing into stereotypes. Well, Tom watches like 40 hours a week. And so I just wait and rely on Tom to tell me what the coverage, who's going to guard me, who's going to cover, you know, what the coverage is going to be.
And that's the biggest thing, Skip, was when I got there is that Hell, I'm watching tape like I'm watching a game. I didn't understand how to watch tape because that's not something that we did a lot of in college.
Yep.
So I needed someone to explain to me, so what should I be looking for? Okay, I'm here. What am I looking at? Well, you need to understand, okay, first of all, let's identify the coverage. What coverage do you think it is? Okay, no, it's not that. See these two safeties? Read the triangle.
Yep.
And so, Skip, once I got proficient, now I'm looking at, okay, who's guarding me? Okay, so I'm watching tape. I'm looking at how they guarding that tight end. Well, Shannon, you're not like that tight end. You can actually run. So they probably, let me study Albert Lewis. Let me study James Hasty. Let me study Dale Carter. Guys that's going to actually cover me. But also in the process, Skip, I need to know, what is Tom Brady? What did Tom Brady hate more than anything? When guys make mistakes. Coach Belichick would lose his mind. You make a mistake. So you mean to tell me you can go an entire game without watching any film and go out there and not make a mistake?
Okay.
I just find that hard, Skip. I'm not saying anything is possible, but I find it highly unlikely that is the case.
Okay. So what have we seen from both Brady and Gronkowski at Tampa? We're seeing constant.
They're on the same page.
They're on the same page, but they're also, everything they're doing is to spite Belichick, right?
Yes.
So they're enjoying doing Tommy and Gronky, which is the silliest thing I've ever seen, where they are sitting with these big mirrored shades on. Outside under some little weird fake palm tree with a kiddie pool in front of them, just being silly with each other. Although I thought Tom got a little serious about can he play until he's 50, but it's mostly silliness, right? Okay, what's the message that they're sending? Hey, coach, we could have never done this with you, and look what we're doing now. And guess what? We just won the Super Bowl.
And you can have fun and still win. And Tom, as you mentioned, Tom sitting there with the mirror sunglasses, he got the big floppy bucket hat on. He just kicked back, just having a good old time, knowing good and well that would have never flown.
Never flown. So last night, the underlying message of Gronk with Peyton and Eli is a message back to Belichick. Remember, he quit. He retired. He said, I can't take it anymore. I'm not having any fun.
Yeah, that's how it wears on you. Absolutely. No question.
All right. And so it's another shot between the lines fired back at Coach Belichick. Look at me now. I'm not even watching any tape, and we're winning. And not only are they winning, but he is flourishing because he's already caught 4 of Tom's 9 touchdown passes. I think we have those.
And we go back to the Super Bowl. He had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
He had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Here's so far this year. That's the little rollout pass. And look at the rapport between. Look how Gronk played that. And that's the play you talked about. D-Law and Donovan Wilson. And then, okay, that's just beasting Gronk. And here he goes again. He gets it. He knows exactly where he's supposed to be. And the rapport between those two guys is all-time high because they're both the best at what they do. And they've been doing it together for so long. You can't tell me they hadn't at least discussed the potential safety blitz off that edge that could leave the defensive end on Gronkowski.
And plus, you got to know if you're hot, because there are a lot of situations, I can assure you, in a tight end-driven offense like he had in New England, he was hot an awful lot. I need to know what's going to make me hot. Okay, here it is. I watched this on tape. But just to go in this game, Skip, I don't believe it's possible for a guy to go in the game and be nearly as effective without watching tape.
Okay, do you think they had discussed that potential play? Because that's about as good as it gets, where you see it, read it, know it, and have discussed it, and have sort of at least mentally rehearsed. If they do this, I'm going to do that.
But guess what you had to have done? You had to see them in that defense, in that area of the field, and that down and distance. Team Skip, defense is a lot like offense. They just don't do things just to do it. There's a rhyme and a reason. When you see a defense, they're in a certain defense because they've seen you in this formation, and they feel this defense gives them the best coverage, the best chance of stopping you. When a team lines up, Skip, they're anticipating in this down and distance, this area of the field, you like to run this coverage. We're going to get in a formation. We're going to call routes that are accordingly based on what you normally do. This gives us the best chance to succeed.
I agree.
So they would have had to have seen them line up in that Bear defense with a stretch in order to know to call that play. You just don't go out there and just call plays.
He saw it and he read it.
Yes.
Because his football IQ is right up there with Brady's.
Right.
And the combination of the two of them has become even more lethal in Tampa than it was in New England.
Yeah.
Because I remind you, Brady threw him 8 passes on opening night against my Dallas Cowboys that we're about to talk about. He caught all 8 of them. And remember, the last 2 were the first 2 in the game-winning drive. It got them going. Was he went to Gronk to set up the deeper ball to Chris Godwin. Whether it was a push-off or not, we'll never know.
So,
but the point is, that's Rob Gronkowski, and you could see him in all of his new glory last night on the Peyton Eli telecast.
But I'm just finding, and Skip, anytime you're doing something, Skip, hell, I watch tape of us. I get critiqued. I get coached on, okay, Shannon, in this situation right here, do it. I mean, here's a guy that's on, and I need to know, that's Tom. Man, it's bigger. Skip, Tom is yelling and screaming, guys, we got to get open. Guys, we got to do this, we got to do that. And Gronk just out there running, just having a good old time.
Well, who's his most trustworthy target so far?
Yeah.
That guy.
Because you know why? Because we're on the same page.
Yep.
I've studied tape. I know this is how they do this situation. The guy likes to play high. I flat it off. The guy flattened it and
trust me, Gronk is always where he is supposed to be.
Yes.
And the other thing is, he always catches it.
But doesn't it sound better though, Skip? To say, man, here's a guy that's doing this.
I just run by people. Oh, okay. It does. It sounds great.
It does. Like I said, I don't believe it's true.
No? Okay.
No.
The Cowboys, though, improved to 1-1 after their big road win over the Chargers. And now they're preparing to take on division rival Philadelphia next week with a chance to move into first place in the NFC East. So far, Dak looks like he has no sign of rust between his ankle and shoulder injuries. And the defense seems improved under new defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. So, Shannon, this is important. Are the Cowboys better than you thought?
Be honest.
Skip, let me ask you, okay. No. So
Not at all?
No. After last year, can you tell me what the Cowboys' record was after 2 games last year? They were 1-1. I can make a case they could be 0-2, just like they could have been last year, 0-2. So this is how much better they gotten defensively. They have 2 sacks. They're 31st in pass defense. They're 27th in total defense. So how much better have they gotten?
Is it my turn?
No. They've taken the ball away. They took the ball away 4 times, and they still lost on opening night. So how much better is this defense? Because you take the ball away. Now, I'll give them credit, Skip. That definitely aided their cause of winning this ball game on Sunday because they got a pick in the end zone. They got them in the red zone several times, and they came away with only 3 instead of 7s. So give them that. But it's not like they're just suffocating. They're not the 85 Bears. They're not the 2000 Ravens. Hell, they're not the 15 Broncos. So when I look at it, if you got 2 sacks, 2, is that good? No. And they got those this past weekend, right? Yes, okay. 31st in pass defense. Now, last I checked, there's only 32 teams. Now, maybe they added a team while I was asleep last night, and Jenny, we didn't get the memo. But if I'm not mistaken, there's still only 32 teams, and the Cowboys are 31st in pass defense. They're 27th in total defense. Again, there's only 32 teams. So that tells me there's only 5 teams worse than them. So you're the bottom of the barrel in pass defense and total defense, but somehow you've gotten better. What have they done in McCarthy? Has he done anything to make you think that he's a better coach? He's a great coach? No, that late game, you know it. Normally, when you make mistakes like what he made at the end of the game, it gets you beat. Still.
Or fired.
True. So for me, no, I don't see it. Like I said, they've done a great job of taking the ball away. And the thing about takeaways is kind of like touchdowns, Skip. There were a couple of seasons I had 10 touchdowns, double-figure touchdowns in the season. And it was never like 3 or 4 games in a row where I got 1 touchdown. I would have like two or 3 games where I would have 5. Then I would have a lull when I didn't get any. And then I'd get 3. And the next thing you know, it's like, dang, they're in bunches. And so what they're doing is kind of like last year at the end of the year, Skip. They got none for such a long time. Now, all of a sudden, they started getting some late last year. The same Byron Jones, the play that Trayvon Diggs was made, Byron Jones knocks the ball down. Trayvon Diggs interception.
Thank you.
The ball's on the ground. Normally, sometimes the ball gets pushed out of bounds or one of their players dive on top of it. What they're doing now, any ball that's on the ground, Cowboys are falling on it. So they're getting these turnovers in bunches. But you know, Skip, Sooner or later, they'll go 3 or 4 games where they don't get those turnovers. And then you'll see just how good they are if they not getting those turnovers. But I don't really see the difference because they're exactly where they were last year at the same time, 1-1, and they could have been easily 0-2.
Now it is my turn, finally. Shannon Sharpe, I'm here to announce to you that I have really bad, sad news for you.
What is that?
My team is way better than even I thought it was going to be, and my team is going to haunt you all the rest of this season. You're going to have miserable Mondays after Mondays after Mondays because my team is shockingly better than it was 1 year ago. Let me count the ways. I start with the defense. I told you that Dan Quinn is the new coordinator on defense in place of that disastrous Mike Nolan last year. He's changed the spirit of the defense. The young players have changed the way they play defense. And I'm giving you huge credit for this. You called Micah Parsons before I did. I wanted Patrick Surtain, and he went to your Broncos, and I think he would have been a great pick for my Cowboys, but he wouldn't have been the best pick for my Cowboys because what we needed the most was what you saw early on pre-draft. Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. He can do so many things because he's got the gift of explosiveness.
He's sudden.
A big man who is extremely sudden, and he just has that rare knack for smelling the football and getting to the football.
Right.
And in desperation, because they had lost both of their pass rushers, both of their defensive ends, going to the Chargers against a Justin Herbert who had lit up Washington, the team you think is going to win the NFC East, at Washington, opening day. 14 of 19 third down conversions by Justin Herbert. You love Justin Herbert.
I know.
He throws rockets.
Yeah.
He managed to score 17 total points against my team because Micah Parsons said, okay, I got you. I'll put my hand in the dirt as I predicted he needed to on Friday's show. And he wrecked the game. He made it harder and harder as the game wore on for somebody to try to block him. And all of a sudden, my defense is hanging in ways it never hoped to hang in last year. Do you remember what was happening early last year? Cleveland went to Jerry World and ran roughshod over them for 307 yards rushing. They went to Baltimore a little later and gave up 294 rush yards. Arizona came to Dallas on a Monday night to Jerry World and ran for 261 yards.
Give us some time, Skip. You're only 2 games into the season. Give us some time.
Do you realize that in the first 2 games, Tampa ran for a grand total of 52 yards, and I'll give the Chargers this. They managed 95. Is that 307 or 294 or 261?
Oh,
we are worlds better than we were last year.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many yards did the Rams run against you? How many yards did the Falcons have when they rushed against you in the first 2 games? Give us some time. You 2 games into the season, and you talk
We're all different.
No,
Mike Nolan was a disaster. You know it, and I know it. They mutinied on Mike Nolan, and it wasn't until they got him out of there that great things started to happen.
Right. I will concede this, Skip. You seem, from what I saw Sunday, you seem to have figured it out that we're going to be a little bit more balanced. We're not going to throw it 58.
Yeah, that's on offense.
Right. But so you're talking about overall. But this defense.
I love this defense because it's so much better than it was. And remember that they took the GOAT to the wire at Tampa Bay on opening night on a solo stage. They had to get goated to lose the game. They had to get goated. It took Brady doing what he does greater than anybody in the history of football. It took Tom Brady at his greatest to hold my team off 31-29.
Listen, in sports, there's wins and there's losses. That's why they keep
That
scoring.
was the greatest loss in the history of my franchise.
There are no moral victories in sports. That's why they keep the score.
This team needed a moral victory.
Because they're like, oh, no.
Okay, what's the most difficult opening day or night test in pro football? It would be at the defending champs, right? We went there and played them 50-50. Blow for blow. We went all the way to the buzzer. It required a walk-off field goal to beat us.
Think about it, Skip. Name the time you've ever heard, even the parents say, did you have a good time? The first thing out of their mouth when the kids play, did you win or did you lose? Fans, Our team had a great time. We really enjoyed the game. No, what your friends ask you, did y'all win or did you lose?
Okay.
Because scores are important. There are no moral victories.
Did we crumble after our moral victory?
You lost.
No, we went all the way to the other coast without our two defensive ends, without our starting safety, without our starting defensive tackle. We went out there and held Justin Herbert to 17 points, and we won the game on a walk-off field goal. And my quarterback has taken it up another level. You saw Dak Prescott play his greatest game ever on opening night, head-to-head with the GOAT at Tampa again. Well, I don't know what more he can do. He can't play much better than that.
Well, he can win.
He should have won.
Would you rather him play a little worse and win or play better and lose?
They were a 9-point dog there.
Okay. That only matters to the... Okay. You didn't bet. Okay. It only matters to the bettors.
I bet you.
That's okay. Right? You lost.
Yeah, I did not lose.
I picked Tampa.
Okay, well, I picked Tampa also.
No,
I
exactly.
did. I picked Tampa.
Hey, you over here, so what you patting the Cowboys to the back for?
All right, so the point is that all of a sudden, all through last week, they lost player after player to COVID, to injury, to suspension. And they sucked it up and went out there and won a game that you said they would get routed in.
So let me ask you a question. Was it more impressive what they did or what the Ravens did? Since you want to talk about all the losses that they've had.
The Ravens are perennial good to great.
Why not?
My team has missed the playoffs the last 2 years. We're not talking about the Ravens. We're talking about, are the Cowboys better?
No.
And the answer on a lie detector for you would be absolutely better than I thought.
Skip, all I can do is base it on 2 games.
Okay.
I can base it on 2 games.
Here's the most stunning, surprising stat I've heard in maybe years, especially concerning my Cowboys. And that is, if you go back over the last 7 games last season and then add on the first 2 games this season, that's a 9-game span. That's more than half of a pro football season.
Okay.
Obviously, well, now it's 17. You could say it's right in the middle.
Okay, go ahead.
But the point is, over 9 games, they have led the National Football League in takeaways and turnover ratio. So they're not turning the ball over on offense, and they are getting turnovers on defense. They're leading the league in both categories over a 9-game span, and they've taken it right into this year.
I'm glad you mentioned that over 9-game span. Now, over that same 9-game span, can you tell me what their one-loss record is?
Well, it just doesn't matter because you can see what's happening.
Okay, hold on. So hold on.
We didn't have Dak last year. I'm only talking about the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, but I'm saying, you keep saying...
We did win at Minnesota, and we did beat Philly at home and San Francisco at home, and we should have won at New York and maybe even stolen division if my coach had just challenged the obvious non-catch.
Hold on, time out. Wait a minute, Skip. You just hyped up taking the football away.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, how many those takeaways did they lead to wins? You said it doesn't matter.
How many of those games did Dak Prescott play? Only 2 out of 9.
So you're not allowed to win a game unless Dak Prescott plays.
Well, I just gave you the ones that Andy Dalton actually won. We actually were coming alive with Andy Dalton at quarterback.
Guess what? You had 4 takeaways against Tom Brady. And what happened?
He's the GOAT. They're the defending champs. I've already predicted they're going to go 20-0.
You're allowed to beat the GOAT.
Okay, well, we came about as close as you can come.
Well, I don't care about no close. You throwing grenades and slow dancing?
How about my offense? How about, listen, I told you yesterday, a star got born out here in Hollywood on Sunday.
We've done this before, Skip.
Tony Pollard,
we've done this.
Star is born.
Skip, we've done this before. We've seen Tony Pollard.
Coming out party.
Skip, we've seen this before. Tony Pollard had this breakout game. They give him more touches, and then what happens? Not the same thing. It's easy, Skip, when you come in and spot here, spot there. But when you're the guy, and they focused on you, and they try to give you the ball 20, 25 times.
I think he just became the co-guy. You know it, and I know it.
Skip, but they talked about that.
13 carries for 109 and 3 catches for 31 more yards. Every time he touched the ball, it was electric.
Yes.
But I've been telling you that. He's got a gear Zeke does not have.
Skip, they've talked about this. They've talked about splitting the carries, saving Zeke for down the road when he's going to need those 20, 25 carries a game.
This is classic thunder and lightning because I saw some of the old thunder flash from Zeke because when they needed 3rd and 1, he can get you 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
When they need Zeke to crash it in from 3 or 4 yards out for a touchdown, his body lean is still the best in the game. I don't see anybody. Well, you have to get him going downhill. If he's running sideways and he's not able to turn it up, you saw the 3rd and 1 play at Tampa where the undrafted practice squatter just hog-tied him for a yard loss on what should have been a touchdown. If that's Tony Pollard, he waltzes that ball in because he's going to beat the backup, the third-string safety to the pylon.
No, he ain't.
Yes, he is.
The guy has outside leverage. He has outside leverage. So now, and you know Tony Pollard doesn't have the power to Zeke, so he can't bully me.
He's got some jets.
Yeah.
He's got jets. And I wish on that Hail Mary play at the end of the half, if they had Tony in the game and CD laterals to Tony, he just might have beaten them to the pylon. And that game would have been over right there at halftime because all of a sudden you're looking at 17-3. I mean, we've been to 21. We've gotten it to 21, right?
You got what you needed.
Okay, we did get what we needed because we got a huge victory that we had to have so we didn't fall to 0-2. So my quarterback's playing at the highest level ever. My offensive line is back intact. And you saw what happened when the future Hall of Famer, as you have acknowledged, when Zach Martin is back in the lineup, it changes everything.
Yeah.
He is the ultimate road grater.
Yeah.
You can run behind him because he is going to wipe out the man in front of him, and he might take two guys with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Skip, but Skip, I just acknowledge your offense is better because it seems to be just you've balanced up. Now, maybe this we'll see moving forward because for the most part, Skip, they've been heavy pass, not so much run. They balanced it up on Sunday. So it was 31-27. We'll see if that's a trend or a blip. We'll find out moving forward. But after 2 games, you're at the exact same record that you had last year, and your defense looked pretty much the same, minus the turnovers.
Do you remember what we were doing every one of those games except for the opener at Rams, which we lost on a bad call? But we were falling hopelessly behind. And to your point, Dak was throwing for thousands of empty calorie yards that were basically just garbage time.
Yeah, I'm glad you realized that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I acknowledged it then.
Yeah.
Because it was hard to watch. We took the ball Sunday and ran it right down their throat on the opening drive.
You had 14 points in the first quarter. You got 6 over the final 3 quarters. That's really improving.
We had 13 first downs in the first quarter, which tied an all-time NFL record for first downs in the first quarter.
And you won by 3. Over a 56-yard walk-off.
A really good team with a great young quarterback. Am I right? That's what you told me.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And what should horrify you the most is, I'm going to knock on wood when I say this, none of our lost players so far are lost for the year because obviously DeMarcus Lawrence broke his little toe, but he'll be back by mid-season, and that'll be right on schedule. Randy Gregory's on the COVID list. He's going to be back. Lyle Collins is out for 5 games on a suspension. They're still appealing it. It's not going to happen, but he'll be back after 5 games. Michael Gallup has a calf strain. He's going to be back in, I think, 2 or 3 games, and we didn't really miss him the other day. And Donovan Wilson has a groin strain. Well, he'll be back maybe next week. And Neville Gallimore dislocated his elbow, which you've gone through before, and you said what?
I was out a month.
Okay. Well, all right. So we'll get him back. And he is a force in the middle of our defensive line.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm saying, wait a second. We're poised for takeoff here.
Wait a second. We're poised to be 9-8 and lose the division.
Who do you like? Philly at Dallas a week from last night. Who you like?
We'll talk about that game a little later in the week.
We'll talk about it because you got to like Dallas in that game. And then Carolina comes calling. And and then you want some dew on that?
Sam Darnold's not looking too bad.
I know.
Sam Darnold, huh?
And you're a little man Christian that you watch grow up.
OC Mac.
Yeah, you want some dew on it right now?
Well, Skip.
No, you don't want any dew because you know what's going to happen.
So we're going to bypass the Eagles and then just jump straight to Carolina.
And then come the Giants. I don't know. Could we win 3 in a row? I'll knock on wood and say, sure we could.
Ain't happening.
If we stay healthy.
It ain't happening.
Or not suspended.
It ain't happening.
Or not COVIDed.
What part about it isn't happening do you not understand?
It's what you don't understand because you know you're up against it and you know my team is way better than you thought it would be and you know you're losing sleep over it.
I slept really good last night.
Did you?
I think I got my full 8 hours. I think I got 8 hours.
8 hours? Well, you got way more than I got.
8 hours after watching the game?
I got my usual 4.5.
Yeah.
Ooh, 4.5.
I feel refreshed. That's why I'm beating you down.
I got to start drinking Diet Dew to help me if I'm getting 4 hours of sleep.
No mercy.
Despite all his Super Bowl wins, some people will always associate Bill Belichick with skirting around the rules just a bit. Even last night on the Manning Brothers alternate Monday Night Football broadcast, Peyton talked about the rumors of the Patriots eavesdropping on their opponents. Take a listen to what he said.
I think our conversation was bugged, kind of like the Patriots used to do back in the day. Every time I played against New England, I used to go and talk to my receivers like in the shower in the far corner. I'm like, don't talk about a play next to my locker because I know it's bugged. I know it's got a hot mic in there. We're in the shower. Very strange to see 7 guys hanging out back there in the shower.
Look, I know he's joking in the delivery, but Shannon, how damaging is this to Belichick's legacy?
Skip, it is what it is. Spygate happened, and it happened on his watch. And there's no question in my mind, had one of his assistants not turned Coach Belichick in, he will still be doing that to this very day.
One of his ex-assistants.
One of his ex-assistants.
Eric Mangini,
yes.
One of our guys.
Yes.
Yep.
Turned him in.
He was then the head coach of the Jets.
Right.
Yep.
He would have still been doing it to this day.
He would have.
Even though the NFL asked, if you are taping signals from the sidelines, cease immediately. You are allowed, if you do it from an elevated perch. They sent out the memo to all 32 teams. Coach Belichick says, I don't care. And even after Coach Mangini said, Bill.
He called him the week of the game.
He said, Bill, that thing that you do, just don't do it to me. Let that sink in. Me and Skip Bayless, we think we doing our thing. Skip, we robbing bank. Hey, Skip, you know what? I'm going to go straight. I don't want to do that no more, Skip. I got me a little bank, got me a nice little establishment going. I'm doing the right thing. Skip, keep doing what you're doing. Just don't hit my bank. F you, Shannon. I'm going to hit your bank at noon tomorrow. Guess, hey, FBI, there's going to be a bank robbery.
You'd sell me out?
Yeah, I'm going to do just.
Great.
That's what happens.
I can't trust.
No. I told you, I ain't going to turn. You don't hit my bank. Rob all the rest of them in the area, but just leave mine alone. Skip, look, I still believe Coach Belichick is the greatest football coach in NFL history. But it's fair to bring this in. The Deflategate also happened on his watch. And so, yes, as Jenny mentioned, the delivery isn't a joke. Skip, there's seriousness in a joke. There's truth in a joke. A lot of times people disguise the truth in a joke. But if you read carefully, if you like, he for real though. And the thing is, Skip, is because in Spygate, who benefited from that? So it complicates Tom's legacy because he benefited from having the defensive signals. So he gets brought into some things that it wasn't like Tom said, hey, man, y'all go out there and take those signals. That we did that at Coach Belichick's request. And Skip, remember what a couple of years ago, they were up in Cincinnati, taping Cincinnati. And then when they get caught, he's talking about, man, I can erase this. Why of all the things that
was just blatant. That was from the press box.
Thank you, Skip. Okay. Why you taping? You're not supposed to do that. And then talk about when he got caught, I'll erase it and just all go away. So for me, Skip, yes, I believe Peyton Manning is not the first to believe that the Patriots locker room was bugged. Marty Herney, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he the general manager, Skip, of the Carolina Panthers? He believed that. The Rams,
they thought that their walkthroughs got videotaped the day before or even the night before the Super Bowls. The first one against the Rams, second one against Carolina.
And this is how we know it was true, because one of Coach Belichick's assistants brought that same bull jive to New England, from New England to Denver, and took it on the road to London. And Mr. B was so upset, rest your soul, Mr. B. He said, I cannot have this on my watch, and he fired him immediately.
Josh McDaniels.
Yes. So this is very real. Peyton Manning and other people around the league believe that they have done things, and all this, Skip, it ain't cheating if you're not trying until that cheating happens to you. And then you wish they hadn't tried it on you.
Okay. For the record, this is not the first time Peyton has said this publicly, because I believe he said it to Peter King.
Yes.
I've read it at least once before, if not a couple of times before.
Yes.
And those words to a reporter like Peter King, the great Peter King, those are legit words.
Yeah. Coach Dungy said it also.
He has. Tony Dungy has said this publicly. We were convinced that we were bugged.
Right.
Ryan Clark, friend of mine when I was at ESPN, for years he had told me every time that Brady and Belichick beat them, they were convinced that the Patriots got their signals out by hook or crook, however they got them. So the point is, even though Peyton came across as a little bit of shtick last night, like he was having fun with it and like laying it on a little thick, there was truth between the lines because he said it without any shtick before.
Right.
So I just want our viewers to let this sink in. This is Peyton Manning. Some regard him as the greatest quarterback ever, the smartest quarterback ever, the greatest audible caller, Omaha ever.
Right.
And he is saying publicly on Monday Night Football that Bill Belichick was cheating.
Right.
He was convinced he was cheating, that there was a hot mic in his locker before the game. We cannot discuss anything in front of my locker.
Skip, that man understands that his words carry weight. His word is gold.
That's gold standard right there.
So he doesn't take what he's saying lightly. And like I said, there's truth in jokes. You go to listen to all these comic shows, and they say it in a joking manner, but there's truth in what they're saying.
There's rage in what they're saying. Yes.
So for him to say that and to repeat it, Skip, it's not like he said that and says, well, I don't want to talk about it anymore. He's talked about this openly on several different occasions over the course of years.
But he picked the biggest platform he's ever had, with the largest audience ever listening to him, to drive home the point again. And it was random, out of the blue, because he was making a joke about, wait a minute, Detroit must have bugged our conversation last week, you and Eli, me and Eli. And it's just like what happened to me at the Peyton. It was a big left turn. But he wanted to do it, and he did it, and he went hard at it. So to your point, Spygate happened in 2007, and they just got busted, caught, convicted, right? And then somehow the tapes mysteriously disappeared. I don't know what happened, but whatever.
Because they normally show you, Skip, they're the drug busters, they're the drug raid. What do they do? They show you the evidence. They show, okay, we got all these guns, we got all these drugs, we got all the cash. They put it on the table, let you see it. Okay, there's a chop shop. They let you see some of the cars that they recovered, some of the parts that they recovered, so forth and so on. None of this evidence. So if Skip, if we go to
the guns laid out, right?
So Skip, if we go to court, and the judge says, okay, this is Exhibit A, this is Exhibit B, this is Exhibit C. Okay, we in court. The judge is like, okay, present your evidence.
It's gone. We had it.
You got no case. They gonna throw you out if you ain't got no evidence, Skip.
Okay, so then we move on 7 more years to the 2014 season, and it's just after AFC Championship game, and Deflategate happens. And I'm going to defend my guy Tom Brady on this, because that was halftime of the AFC Championship game on a cold night in Foxborough. And
when they confiscated the football.
Yes, they did. And I don't know about ideal gas laws and how much the football shrinks in the cold, but the point was, with a properly inflated football in the second half, Tom Brady threw another party and went 12 of 14. This is the AFC Championship game against the Colts. 12 of 14 for 131 in the second half and 2 touchdowns. And then obviously with properly inflated balls in the Super Bowl, in the fourth quarter against the Legion of Boom, Seattle Seahawks, he went again, he went 13 of 15 for 124 yards just in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And you know what happened at the end. Obviously, Malcolm Butler saved the day. But Tom was extraordinary in that fourth quarter with a properly inflated football.
Well, Tom didn't need to do that to the Colts. He could have had a bowling ball. He could have been throwing a bowling ball. They could have been running with a bowling ball up under their arms. And they were going to beat the brakes off the Colts as they did.
But Tom never said anything but, I like mine inflated to the lower end of legal. The lower end. I like it a little bit softer. Aaron likes his balls hard.
Like
big overinflated footballs. And there's a range that they allow it to be. I don't know the exact
I think it's like 13 PSI, maybe 12 and a half, but 13 PSI, I think it was.
The point was, Bill Belichick went completely out of character on the Saturday before they left for the Super Bowl, after Deflategate had hit the fan. It's a 2 week before the Super Bowl. Called his own press conference in New England, gathered both the New England and the national media together, and basically said, don't look at me, go ask my quarterback about over or under inflated footballs, Go ask the quarterback. Really? Well, I thought that, I've always said he's got some scoundrel in him, and I thought that was the beginning of the end of he and Brady's relationship.
Yeah, because he didn't have to even mention Brady.
No.
He's just like, look, we play the footballs inflated how they are, yada, yada, yada. You could do anything you can. Normally, what coaches do, they deflect from their quarterback because they don't want any unrunning. Because if you say, I don't know anything about that, Tom is basically responsible for handling the football.
Yep.
Ask him.
Yep.
Tom was like, Giselle, did you hear what he said? Did he say what I think he said?
Yes, he did.
He said that, come ask me.
Yep. He even went Mona Lisa veto, which was the most bizarre reference from My Cousin Vinny, the movie, great movie, in which that character Mona Lisa won the lawsuit, the court case, because she knew everything about classic cars.
This part didn't come standard on this car until 1958, and that was the 1957.
And that's how they won the case, right?
Right.
And Belichick saying, I'm no Mona Lisa Vito. I don't know that. Wait a second. You are Mona Lisa Vito because you're the one who practices with wet footballs.
Cold footballs and grease footballs and do all that because you got to prepare them for everything.
You're kidding.
Huh.
Well, he's got some scoundrel in him, and it has to taint his legacy.
Yeah.
It just has to. And Peyton is piling on to make sure.
But it's fair, Skip, it's fair to bring that criticism when you're speaking of Coach Belichick and his legacy. It's fair to bring that criticism in because that did happen.
Yep.
You did get busted. You did get penalized. They took draft picks. They fined you. They fined the team.
Yeah.
So that happened. Deflategate, you got fined again. The team got fined again. So these things keep happening under Skip. Look, you can have different CEOs, but if the company keeps getting fines, there's something going on here that's deeper than an individual.
Yeah.
But because Coach Belichick, see, this is the thing, Skip. This is not a situation where the coach might have knew, but the GM didn't, and this might have been the ball boys. There's not a thumbtack that's not accounted for without Coach Belichick knowing.
Agreed.
If there's a quarter that's spent for something, Coach Belichick knows. The postage and how much it costs, Coach Belichick knows. So anything that happens, hell, Coach Belichick actually knows probably more than Mr. Kraft knows, and Mr. Kraft owns the team.
Totally
But anything that happens that's football related.
Yep.
Now, I ain't talking about Skip all the sponsorships and all that, who's named on the stadium.
I got it.
I'm talking about football related.
Yep.
Coach Belichick knows.
I got it. So in the end, I disagree with your biggest takeaway that Bill Belichick's the greatest football coach ever. I got Bill Walsh.
Okay.
But I will give you, Bill is a great defensive mind. He might be the greatest defensive mind ever. I think he would have been nothing without Tom Brady.
But Skip, you know what the thing is? We'll never be able to know, Skip, because we'll never know what Tom Brady would have been had he not have Coach Belichick in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we'll never, because we did see Coach Belichick without Tom Brady. And so I think when they got together, they were the perfect match. It's like saying Hall and Oates. What would they have been without each other?
Hall and Oates?
Yeah, you know Hall and Oates, Skip.
Can we even go to Lennon McCartney?
Okay.
Hall and Oates?
Okay, but I'm just saying, Skip, okay.
How do you know Hall and Oates?
I do. I saw him in concert like 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, 3 times.
You're disqualified. You're out.
You mentioned.
That's like Jukebox from Hell music to me.
Skip, you mentioned John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Yep.
We know them. But what happened had they had never met? In that he did his thing and then he did his thing, but we know what they did afterwards. But let's just say, Skip, it's a lot easier to get ears when you've already formed. People were arguing the greatest group ever.
Ever.
So it's easy.
I buy that.
I want to hear what they sound like separate.
Yep.
But had it been separate from the beginning, I would have loved to have seen how it would have turned out had they never. Same thing with Coach Belichick and Tom Brady.
I got it. Lennon and McCartney both separate. They were very good.
Right.
Some people thought they were great, but they weren't the Beatles.
No.
Okay.
You need any Ringo, Skip. You need a Ringo to make that thing.
Keep the time. Yeah.
You should keep naming duos, partners.
That's Skip. Skip loves the Beatles. I'm sure he loves the Eagles.
Everybody loves the Beatles.
Ain't no everybody love no
Everybody
Beatles.
acknowledges they're the greatest.
They don't love everybody love no Beatles. Ain't
Hall and Oates?
Are we all dating? We're dating ourselves right now.
No mercy.
So get this, Carmelo Anthony will join his banana boat buddy LeBron on the purple and gold this season. The newest Laker made some interesting comments on how the King got him in LA. Melo said LeBron contacted him directly, and that's when he knew he'd join the team. Even went as far as to call LeBron the GM. Shannon, is LeBron actually the GM of the Lakers?
No, he isn't. But I'm tired of y'all putting this out there on Melo. Melo was not on the banana boat. It was LeBron, it was Gabby, it was D-Wade, and it was CP3. Carmelo Anthony was not on that boat. Y'all keep bringing that man in there. He was not on the banana boat.
Are you saying you were there?
No, I'm just saying Melo was not there.
Oh, okay.
So with that being said.
But once upon a time, allegedly, legend has it that LeBron saved Melo from drowning.
Skip, two things can be true. I mean, he could have saved the man and not
Did
been
he
on that
fall
boat.
off the banana boat? I don't know.
Skip, look. Most times than not, especially in today's game, players go to team because of players, not because of GMs. Because if that's the case, Draymond Green is the GM of the Warriors. Because who called Kevin Durant? Who called him kid from that parking lot? It wasn't Bob Myers. It wasn't Steve Kerr. It was Draymond. They got on that plane and interrupted that man on the 4th of July in the Hamptons. He had a good time with his family. And they come up there, Iggy and Clay and Steph and Draymond. Interrupted that man's vacation. KD, if I'm not mistaken, it was Blake Griffin that said KD recruited him. LaMarcus Aldridge. So, Skip, in today's game, this is what it is. When you're a guy like, how the hell did Paul George get to the Clippers? So it's Kawhi Leonard the GM. Because what did he say, Skip? If you don't get me that, I'm going there. I'm going to the Lakers. If y'all don't get me Paul George. So in other words, he's the general manager. What we're seeing, Skip, in today's game, the players, they had the general manager, the ownership has enough respect, says, you know what, we're going to keep these guys happy. Russell Westbrook, it was reported. Now, Kyle Kuzma said he just knew he was going to Sacramento for the Buddy Hield. That was a done deal. And then a day later, he's on his way to D.C. because they're trading for Russell Westbrook. You don't think Rob Pelinka said, hey, Brian, AD, what y'all think? It is reported that they were already talking to Russ. So, Skip, because players recruit other players, that doesn't make them the general manager. But if you're a smart general manager, you're going to run it by your best player or best players.
So here's what's funny. You want me to fight about this when you should be with me on this. I've told you from the start, LeBron James is the GM of the Lakers. If you want to go de facto unofficial GM, I'll give you that. He's also the unofficial de facto head coach of the Lakers.
Yes.
I don't believe any move that ever gets made by the Los Angeles Lakers isn't at least run by LeBron James. And I think most of the moves that get made, he initiates those moves. I think every player they added, I think it was his idea first. In conference with Pelinka, I'm sure they're constantly texting and on cell because here's why you shouldn't fight me on this. He's earned the right to run the Lakers.
No, he ain't running the Lakers.
He's that great.
Does he's earned the right to have a voice. Yes, but let me ask you this, Skip. Let's just say for the sake of argument, I'm going to ask you this honestly.
Well, Carmelo just said openly.
He called him.
He said, I ain't heard from no GM. That's
Right.
what he said. Like, it's you. All I need is for you to call me, and I know that's official because he said, and I quote him, you're the GM.
Let me ask you this. Kevin Durant says, Bob Myers, I want to sign with the Warriors. Steph Curry says, hell nah, I don't want him here. There's only one room, the big dog. I'm it. Do you believe Kevin Durant comes to the Warriors and Steph Curry says no?
Well, you know what would happen.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Steph Curry is the general manager of the Warriors. All I'm saying is that...
I'm saying Bob Myers would say no to Steph Curry. He'd say,
out your mind.
Did you hear Kevin Durant?
Hold on. What did he say on stage? What did he say on stage?
The problem with your hypothetical is Steph is not going to say no to Kevin Durant.
But what did he say on stage? When it came to the money time, Steph Curry earned his money. You see, he got a little tipsy. And how did Kevin Durant look at it? Skip, all I'm saying is this. James Harden in Brooklyn, because Kevin Durant and Kyrie blessed that. If they don't bless that, James Harden is not coming to Brooklyn. Players have more power. LeBron had a lot to do with this player empowerment movement. And a lot of people, especially a lot of the old guard, are resentful because LeBron and these younger players had more power and cachet in their organization than they ever had. And some of the players are not equal to the level in which they were. And that rubs them the wrong way.
Okay, I just say that in Brooklyn, if any of those big three, especially Kyrie and James, maybe Kevin, but I doubt it, but if any of those big three went to Sean Marks and said, we need to go get Trevor Ariza, whoever it was.
They're going to go get him.
No, they're not.
They're going to go get him.
Sean Marks would say, no, we don't need him. He doesn't fit.
Skip, all I'm saying is Sean Marks said that in the trade for James Harden, I ran it by Kyrie and KD. So we're not going to believe what this man said.
That's James Harden.
Yeah, but
James Harden? I mean, that's like a life changer.
All I'm saying is that the players with the cachet has a voice. And the better the player is, the stronger the voice. When you're talking about LeBron James.
He has the highest IQ in basketball. He is the most decorated current player. Right?
Yes.
He is, according to you, the best player on the planet. So I'll buy into all of that cachet.
Yes.
You deserve to have the biggest say in the franchise. It should go all the way to Jeannie Buss, the owner and sometimes operator of the Lakers. It's up to her. The buck stops on her desk, but mostly she's just deferring to LeBron. All those players who got added, you can't tell me that LeBron didn't first have the idea. All the little pieces that they added, starting with Ellington and Malik Monk and all those, and keeping THT, because LeBron loves him, and he is a clutch client. But again, were they going to trade him? Were they going to throw him in to make a trade? Nope, they were not. They were standing pat on him because LeBron said, no, we're going to need him, and he's too good.
But, Skip, all I'm saying is...
The Caruso, he left because LeBron said, we'll be okay without him.
Skip, all I'm saying is the more decorated a player is, the louder his voice is with the organization.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but LeBron, you know it and I know it. He's got the loudest voice in his organization in the league.
Yeah, but Skip, is he not the most decorated?
I just said that.
Yes. So he should.
Deserves it.
So
give into it. He is the unofficial GM of the Lakers.
So that makes Kawhi.
You should bless it. No, he's not. He's not as decorated.
But he said he was not coming unless they got Paul George. Why is Paul George there?
Okay, well, at that point, he had leverage because he was free, right? And the Clippers were desperate.
Skip.
And they're on their knees for Kawhi because he just won another championship with another MVP.
Sean Marks gets a phone call from Kevin Durant. I'm signing with the Nets. There's no recruitment. No. Okay, that guy says that. You run everything you do in that organization by him.
I don't think he does. I think all the LaMarcus Aldridges and all those smaller moves down the line, even down to Patty Mills, I think that's a Sean Marks special. By the way, he earned his Spurs with the Spurs in San Antonio, so he knew all about Patty. He would make them aware of, he said, he would say, I'm going to add Patty Mills.
No. We want to add, what do you guys think about this? We have an opportunity to sign Patty Mills. We have an opportunity to get LaMarcus Aldridge. We have an opportunity. Blake Griffin said Kevin Durant recruited him.
Sure. Well, that's one thing, but again, it's pretty obvious.
Okay, LeBron recruited Carmelo.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so how that make
But a lot of teams wouldn't want Carmelo right now. That's up to LeBron, and that's a friendship thing, and that's, I think I can get him to do this for us.
Okay, Skip, if that was the case, so now, I mean, Carmelo was out of the league for a year.
He was. Nobody wanted him. And I think LeBron didn't want him for a while, but LeBron sees an opening now that they're kind of rebuilding on the fly with a whole different cast of characters when Schroeder sort of flamed out on them, then it fits for Melo to have a 15-minute role for this team because he saw what he could do as he revived his career in Portland. And LeBron's saying, I can use him as a spot-up three-point shooter.
I get it. It hurts you that Jerry Krause never gave in to Michael Jordan's demands.
Yeah, but on many, I've told you before, and we've seen Michael try to be a GM. Yeah. A lot of times, Jerry Krause made the right move by saying no to Michael Jordan.
Right. And I know that because you talk about that's the GOAT. He should have a say-so. But Jerry Krause said no. The only move, and that wasn't the Dennis Rodman. They brought that to him. What do you think about if we brought Dennis Rodman on? Jordan said, get him. That wasn't Jordan saying, hey, we want Rodman, get Rodman.
Here's the key difference. Obviously, LeBron is not even in Jordan's galaxy as a basketball player.
There you go.
But as a as an eye for talent, I think LeBron has a rare eye. I think LeBron will be, if he chooses to be, I know he wants to be an owner, he could be an operator also. He could be much better than Jordan has been as a team builder, as an architect, as a definer of talent, who can play and who can't play.
See, Skip,
Jordan doesn't have that eye.
Skip, this is where you lose. Skip, if anybody wants to say Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player, we can have a healthy discussion. I'll debate you on that. It's just when you say LeBron James is not in Michael Jordan's galaxy.
He's just
that's when I say, you know what, Skip?
Okay. All right, but I'm giving you this.
No,
Jordan wouldn't be in LeBron's galaxy as an architect of a basketball team.
No.
I'm giving you that.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Neither one would be in the architect of an R.C. Buford because that's what they do. So in other words,
I think LeBron's got R.C. Buford
So I'm
potential.
saying, all I'm saying is, Skip, if you want to say Jordan is the greatest.
By the way, R.C. Buford was a walk-on football player at Oklahoma State, just for the record. Okay.
If you want to say Jordan is the GOAT, and many people co-sign what you're saying.
I can't. It's just too obvious to even restate it.
But when you say LeBron is not in the same galaxy,
he's not.
That's when you lose me.
Okay. Well, I've lost you, but I'm trying to help you with this.
No, you can't help me.
LeBron should be the GM of the Lakers.
Now, Skip. Now
I'm blessing it.
Now I don't even want no help.
You don't?
Nope. Hurricane done came through here and got everything, and I'm the last person. Come on, Mr. Sharpe. No, I'm good.
I'm sorry to hurt your feelings with the truth.
Leave me.
I know the truth is very painful.
Leave me. Yep. Evacuate. I'll be here when you get back.
I won't leave you, Shannon. We can't.
I won't skip to leave me.
I am a hurricane.
How would the show go on?
No mercy.
There were two notable taunting penalties in the Cowboys-Chargers game this past weekend, and now other coaches are speaking out about the emphasis on enforcing this rule. Yesterday, Seahawks coach Pete Carroll said that the league, quote, opened up a bit of a can of worms, and then added, you've got a lot of guys that have to deal with those explosive moments, and they've got to really turn their focus away from the opponent. It's a good thought. It's just hard to manage it. So, Shannon, have the refs gone too far with this?
Of course. And that's what the NFL is. This is their way of saying, look, we're going to do what we want to do, and we don't care what you say. You just play football. Because I can assure you, I don't remember no fans. Because, Skip, and for me, taunting. So, how is Lamar Jackson looking back at the defense, flipping in the end zone, not taunting? How is it that the defense can get an interception, run all the way down to the other end zone and look into the camera, but that's not taunting?
Yep.
A defensive back, Skip, he knocks the play down, he stands up and does this right over the receiver. That's not taunting. But a DB breaks the ball up and gets up to like, yeah, that's what I did. That's taunting. Now, I get what Keenan Allen did, Skip, that's textbook. He got the ball. Skip, you can't follow the man walking away, you followed him.
He followed the man.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's textbook.
Okay, and Jared Cook stood over the fallen defender and was...
Put the ball right at his feet and right in his face, and like I mix you. Come on. Okay, I get that. But come on, Skip, they going too far with this. Because before, it was the fans that said, you always preach team. But the moment the teammates try to celebrate together, you throw a flag. So you want them to be a team in one aspect, but when it comes to celebration, you want them to be individuals when you say you want the individuality out of the sport. So they relax that. Skip, ain't nobody talking about no taunting. Nobody thought taunting was getting out of hand.
Except for John Mara. Remember we talked about it a month ago on this show. Remember what he said? Quote from John Mara, Giants owner. We get kind of sick and tired of the taunting that goes on from time to time on the field. And he was part of the competition committee, so they re-emphasize. It's the rule's been on the books forever. Yeah,
but John Mara is that old white man that
Correct.
This is what ain't nobody say. Ain't nobody, Skip, I can see guys were fighting you, guys were shoving each other and things like that. That was not the case.
And just for the record, I'm pretty sure out there's some older black men who don't like taunting either. Some of the old school.
But Skip, me getting emotion, I get a big first down and I go first down. I'm not taunting you. I'm excited. I'm getting my team pumped up. I'm getting my crowd pumped up.
You are.
Ain't got nothing to do with you.
Nope.
But like I said, Skip, they have 11. They only had 9 all of last year, and you got 11 in the first 2 weeks. Where is this heading? So now you're trying to make me bottle my emotion. You can't play this game without emotion.
Okay.
That don't mean you can't keep it in check, but you got to have emotion to play this game.
Okay, I am very with you on everything you just said. But Pete Carroll's point is that the re-emphasis on the rule is about directing your emotion at the fallen player or whoever you've just victimized. That's what they're trying to stop. And I don't have a problem with stopping that. And Pete Carroll says, I don't like it either. He says it's a good thought, but it's hard to manage, to your point, because he's trying to teach in practice his players to direct their emotion away from the victimized opponent, right? Like direct it away, turn away, and you can do whatever you want. You can celebrate.
Then it becomes scripted.
Okay.
Because now, instead of just being reactionary, Skip, I've done something good. I'm celebrating in the moment. Oh, he on the ground right there. I can't let him see me.
Okay. All right. But even you said, Keenan Allen, you're going to throw a flag on Keenan Allen.
You can't follow, Skip. The guy walking away. You can't walk. You can't keep following the guy and getting his face and basically going face mask to face mask with the guy.
All right. And the Jared Cook is 50-50 to me because it's funny to me, even though it's at the expense of my guy.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's pretty blatant. It's pretty over the top, right on the fallen defender, right, that you just victimized.
Right.
So I get it. Remember, this league is so arch-conservative, and image is everything, and they do have to be concerned about the people who run the companies who buy the advertising, right? And there's some of those old guard who don't love the direct, it's the piling on, it's the showing up, it's the rubbing in. That's what they don't like.
But guess what, Skip? The people that advertise with them is the people that's watching the game that buy those products. That's why you advertise it, because you know the people that's watching those games are going to be watching those commercials during the intermission.
Okay, but even you admit there's this fine line where you can't cross the fine line into blatant. It's just what I would call taunting somebody you just beat.
Skip, so what's flipping in the end zone? If I'm looking back at the guy and I'm flipping the end zone, that's not taunting.
Remember, Tyreek did it to Tampa, and then remember Antoine Winfield Jr. got him back in the Super Bowl.
Now, Skip, that was time. I get that. Now, when you run up to a guy, you're not even in the play, and it's because the guy is fourth down, and you run up in the play and do that again. Okay, I get that, Skip.
By then, the game had been decided.
Right. But Skip, I'm just saying, what Winfield Jr. did, he wasn't involved in that play.
He was not.
I get, Skip, I get that. But I'm saying when I make a play and it's instantaneous, I'm celebrating. Well, Michael Irvin would have got taunted because all he did was first down every catch he made.
Okay, but they're saying that's fine as long as you don't direct it at the guy you beat.
Skip, well, he right there.
Well, as long as your energy goes away from him, the Jared Cook is you're taunting the man on the ground.
Well, how about I do
Keenan Allen is following the defender.
How about this, Skip? I tell Ava, man, get out this shot. I'm about to do something right quick. Get up. Get up. Get out the way.
Well,
I need to do this.
Okay, but I think we're actually on the same page here because you know and I know when it is blatant taunting.
Right, yes.
And you say, that's okay, throw the flag on that.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
What usually happens...
What that DVD is, Skip, what the DVD did in Seattle, that's not taunting.
It's not taunting. I agree. I am totally with you. This is called the universe is trying to correct itself.
Right.
Where the officials are under fire now, the referees, because they've gotten memos saying crack down on this.
Right.
This is a point of emphasis.
Right.
So they're taking the old taunting rule and they're saying, we got to call it. And so they are overreacting.
They're overcorrecting.
They're going over the edge.
Yes.
And they're just humans. And so they're like, I don't know, because you're asking them to make instantaneous subjective calls on is it or isn't. And they're told to, when in doubt, throw the flag because after, I don't know, maybe they'll get another memo after a month, maybe after first 4 or 5 games. And maybe the next memo will say, back off a little bit. We made our point. We tried to reset the table here a little bit. Now let's see if everybody sort of falls back into a line of you can get away with this, but you can't get away with that.
And then, Skip, for me, I loved it. I love Lamar flipping in the end zone. Now, that couldn't be me because I think falling on the ground hurts. If you notice, Skip,
he laughed about it after the game, and he said, I fell on my butt.
It hurts, Skip. I never dove for the end zone, tried to stretch, because I'm running at a high rate of speed. That hurts.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm not trying to do that.
Well,
and
I didn't love Lamar because the game wasn't over yet. They were about to go for another 2 and miss that 2. So I wanted him to wait until it was time and then just let it fly.
Right.
But when he was given opportunities after the game to talk, he didn't take any gloating credit for it at all. Like, I finally did this.
Right.
No. He was like, we're on to.
But yeah, like I said, Skip, you and I, we are in agreement. But I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to overcorrect the situation that wasn't out of hand to begin with. That's the thing, Skip. It wasn't out of hand to begin with. They make it seem like guys was in guys' face.
Yep.
Yeah, I beat you. Nah. I mean, it's just, I didn't really see a need for it.
You were outraged over John Mara's quote a month ago.
And I still am.
This is what came out of that conversation that they were having about with the competition. Right. This is the result.
But see, Skip, you talking about,
there is no we.
Is that these owners, these 32 of you guys, think that, this somehow damaging the game. No, it's not.
Yep. And obviously they're older white men.
And guess what, Skip? Guess what they do now? At the end of the year when they have the award show, who had the best celebration? They bring them up on stage and they give them a trophy.
Yeah,
that's what NFL did.
I hear you. Complicates things. No mercy. Don't look now. The Cowboys lead the league in takeaways after the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. The Dallas defense managed to intercept 2 passes from the Chargers during their 20-17 win. In fact, when you include the final 7 games of last year, Dallas has led the league in takeaways and turnover ratio in the past 9 games. There's something there, Shannon. You and Skip have a bet.
Who knew?
But the Cowboys gets the field to win the NFC East. So how much do these stats scare you?
They don't scare. The Cowboys don't scare me at all. Now, could they possibly win a very bad NFC East? Sure, they could. But the takeaways, Skip, takeaways normally happen in bunches. And when you get them, they just occur, and then you will have a lull there. So my thing is that what happens when you guys don't get 3 takeaways? What happens when you don't take the ball away? Or you don't, forget 3 or 4, what happens when you don't take any? You lose it because your defense, you already know. But anyway, Skip, in the last 30 years, the 2000 Ravens averaged the most takeaways per game. 3.1. Yeah, they took the ball away, but it was a different game then because they knocked your quarterback out and he gave the ball up. Right now, the Cowboys is averaging 3. You believe they can keep that up? You believe they're on pace to be the 2000 Ravens, huh? That what you really tell me right now? I didn't think you were. So for me, this is what we do know about the Cowboys. This is where we are, and I think this will remain a theme. 31st in pass defense. I don't see you getting higher than 25th. Only 2 sacks. You're going to finish somewhere in the bottom 20 somewhere between 24 or down. 27th in total defense. That's you.
Yep.
Those your boys.
Okay.
So you're going to keep that trend going. But this turnover trend is going to stop. And when it does, guess what else is going to stop? That 1-game winning streak, which I believe will stop. When y'all play Monday night?
No, you want
we got plenty of time to pick the game. It's Tuesday.
You talk big until it's time to put your due where your mouth is.
It's Tuesday.
Okay, my turn. This is the single most surprising, stunning stat I think I've ever heard about my Dallas Cowboys, because I read and listen to a whole lot about my Cowboys. I didn't know this until my producer, Tyler Korn, started looking back over the last 7 games of last year, and it was a shocker to me that nobody has latched on to the fact that over the last 9 games, including the 2 this year, they have led the league, the whole NFL, 32 teams in takeaways, and more important, in turnover ratio. So they are so plus in the turnover category because they're taking it away, but they're not turning it over. So my point to you is that's the formula. That turnover ratio number is usually the magic number for playoff.
Yeah. What about point differential? Yeah, you turning it over, but are you scoring? Are you scoring on those turnovers? Because your record is not indicative of a team that's leading the NFL in takeaways over 9 games.
I did not have my quarterback for those last 7 games last year. And all of a sudden, my defense is incredibly re-energized by all the fresh blood, all the talent that's been added to it, because I'm gonna give you credit one more time. Micah Parsons has changed the way we play defense.
I don't want no credit.
Well, you get it, because you called it before I did. I wanted Patrick Surtain. I think he's going to make 10 or 12 Pro Bowls for your Broncos. But as much as I wanted him as the bookend to Trevon Diggs, 2 Bama corners, love that. I can't argue with what Micah has done for this defense because he is just what Dr. Freud ordered for my defense, because all of a sudden they run onto the field thinking, we got a guy they don't have. We got a guy they can't block, because he was everywhere at Chargers and he's just disrupting. He is taking his mental toll on all the people who are trying to keep him off Justin Herbert. And he finally makes the play of the game, even though it shouldn't have been called
exactly.
a sack. Well, but he did that. He got loose, and Justin Herbert obviously couldn't backpedal faster than Micah can run, because, to your point, he is shockingly sudden. And he's agile and bendable, and he has such explosiveness because he's got natural strength. And it's the Von Miller formula. All of a sudden, I'm seeing some flashes of Von Miller coming off the edge where you just can't get him on the ground. You can't knock him out of the play. And the point is, when you've got that guy, and Donovan Wilson was coming on at the end of the year, he didn't even play at the Chargers, but he's pretty good at strong safety. And Kazee, who played for the worst pass defense in pro football history in Atlanta, just keeps making plays for my defense at the free. And I'm starting to love him because he's got a nose and a knack for being around the football.
Guess what? He still played on one of the worst defenses in football.
Well, he did, but Keanu Neal got moved.
I'm saying he's still currently.
Oh, you really think so?
Currently.
Huh. Well, that's interesting, because my defense last year could not stop anybody from running wild.
Y'all still can't stop anybody from throwing the ball wild.
Cleveland ran for 307 last year. At Baltimore, 294 rush yards we gave up. Arizona at home on a Monday night, 261 rush yards. You're pathetic to the point of you can't even compete on defense because you can't stop the run. Guess what? Tampa ran for a grand total of 52. Chargers, with Austin Eckler, he did what? What they totaled 95. They didn't even break 100.
But guess what, Skip?
Yeah.
So now they're not doing it by land, they're doing it by air. So that's what they do. They say, well, you know what? It's just easy. We just throw it.
We've played the GOAT, and the best has the golden-armed young quarterback is Justin Herbert. You tell me he's going to be great.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. What team have you played that runs the football like the Ravens run it, like Cleveland run it, like Arizona ran it? So which one of those teams, those first 2 teams that you played, run the football like that, or do they throw it?
Fortunately, we don't have to play Baltimore or Cleveland. We'll get some revenge on Arizona later in the year.
But guess what you do? You do play teams that throw it. You still got Kansas City on the docket. You still have the Raiders on the docket, which throw the football. So guess what? I will be proven right again. You're going to finish at the bottom in pass defense again.
So Keanu Neal has moved up to his more natural position, which is linebacker. And all of a sudden, that has relit the fire under Wolf Hunter and Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith was making plays on Sunday. He's found a rebirth in this defense.
Yeah, standing on the sideline to do that for you.
All right, and I didn't even have DeMarcus Lawrence, who Pro Football Focus just loves, since he's top 5 pass rusher, and Randy Gregory. I think he's going to have a breakout season this year, and he got COVID. So let's see when he bounces back from the COVID list what starts to happen. Neville Gallimore comes back in the interior line off his elbow dislocation. And that Brent Urban has been good against the run. And little Odighi Zua, he's been wreaking havoc in the middle of the line. I'm loving it. I got new talent here. I got a new coordinator. I got a new spirit. This defense
and your numbers are still where they are.
Incredibly underrated.
And your numbers 2 games are just like they were last year this time, minus the turnovers, but you still have the same record.
I told you my defense is 50% better than it was last year, and I think it might be 75% better.
But your record's still 1-1 after 2 games.
Okay, well, that's all we played. We lost to the GOAT who goated us at the end of the game.
That was my point last year, Skip.
Really?
You only played 2 games. You were 1-1, and you could have been 0-2, and you could have been 0-2 this year.
Do we play the GOAT and the golden arm young quarterback? Nope, we did not.
Who did you play?
First 2 games?
Yep.
We played at Rams when they were struggling, right? And then we came home and
What you mean they were struggling? They're a playoff team.
Yeah, well, they were struggling. They started off slow last year.
No. You started off slow.
Okay, and then we came back on Atlanta at home, 40-39, after we were hopelessly behind.
Yeah, but but guess what? You wanted me to give Tom Brady an A for coming to Atlanta after all those big leads
I
that
didn't
they
say
blew.
give him an A.
Yeah.
Huh?
He should have gave him a C like I did.
He only threw 5 touchdown passes with no interception.
Against Atlanta?
Yep.
Wow. That's impressive.
Well, he's leading the league in touchdown passes and on the way to MVP, as I predicted.
And guess what?
Yep.
Playing the Cowboys, yeah, he'll get the MVP. Playing Atlanta, he'll get the MVP. But guess what? Everybody else that plays the Cowboys in Atlanta don't have those numbers. Jalen Hurts had those numbers against Atlanta, didn't he? How'd that look?
Do you like your crow sautéed or just fried? What do you
fried?
Like?
Rice. Crow and rice. That's
Crow
what I
and
like.
Rice?
Which I will not be eating any
I
of.
will special order that for you.
Which I will not be
every
eating.
Monday.
Don't eat it.
No mercy.
On Sunday, it's a huge doubleheader on Fox. First, the Bears take on Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Then, in America's Game of the Week, Tom Brady leads the Bucs against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. It all kicks off Sunday on Fox. And the Fox Sports app, check local listings for the game in your area. Well, Brady may be 44 years old, but you couldn't tell after Sunday's 5-touchdown performance against the Falcons. The 7-time champ is actually leading the league in passing touchdowns with 9 through the first 2 weeks, causing the Boston Globe to release a story with the headline, Tom Brady is better at 44 than he was at 24, and it's amazing. Well, I'm saying that means something. Shannon, do you agree?
Well, I hope he's better at 24, considering 24 was only his second year in the league and he was not even a starter yet, Skip. But let me tell you, this is what I will say. Is Tom Brady better, or are the players he's playing with better? Because I can assure you the players that he's playing with now at 44 are better than the ones he played with at 24. The rule...
They also said 34, but go ahead.
Okay, 34.
Yeah. All right.
I can make a case that the players that he's playing with today are better than the ones he had at 34. And plus the rule change. Skip, this is why we're seeing the numbers. I'm not saying, look, there are great players in this era, but it's hard for me to see with the numbers that they're putting up that they're exponentially better than what we had in the past. Because average guys, because of the rule changes, have gotten guys making people look like Marino and Elway and some of these Montana. Skip, I just saw somebody just pass Montana on all-time pass. I'm like, come on, really? And Montana played 16 years, and these guys are already passing Montana in 8 years. So for me, Skip, I think it has a lot to do with the talent level. I can make the case that this is the most talented Tom Brady offensively has ever played with. You go back to the 2007 when he had Moss and he had Welker. As far as depth, talent offensively, they can't touch this team. And so I think that has a lot to do with Tom. Can Tom carry teams by himself like some of those years he did in New England? No, he cannot. So when you say he's getting better, you better also factor in that Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin and Gronk is still there and Brayton O.J. Howard has a lot to do with this. The rule change and how you can attack the receiver and attack the quarterback has something to do with this. So for me, Skip, you have to look at it. You just can't say, well, he's leading the league in touchdowns. Oh, he's better. Also, the talent level that he's playing with is better. The rule changes because you and I both know if they could attack the quarterback like they could when you were covering the game, Tom Brady is not playing at the age of 44. They would have knocked him out of the game. Okay. You know that, I know that.
I do know that, but that's not the rule right now. So here's the point for the big picture for people who don't get this. Dan Shaughnessy wrote this. He is the lead columnist at the Boston Globe.
Yes.
It is the voice of New England sports. And he says in the lead of his column, Bill Belichick was wrong. Bob Kraft was wrong. I certainly was wrong, said Dan Shaughnessy, because he wrote off Brady also at the end in New England. Thought it was time.
Well, they drove him off. With all that browbeating and all that, the practice, Skip, the Patriot way all the time. That drove him off.
Okay, I got it. But he's saying that in his 22nd season, he's better than he was at 24 or 34, in his 20s or 30s. And he's calling him Benjamin Button Brady, and he's calling him the Brady Monster, and he's saying it must kill Belichick and Kraft to watch this. And I believe that. I think it kills them because they obviously could have signed him for X more years, and this wouldn't be happening because the cupboard was getting bare thanks to Bill Belichick. Right.
But see, Skip, that's my thing. At least you will acknowledge that. In this article, he's not acknowledging that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown, and even though Gronk was not what he was, Skip, because there are some years now, in 2011, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, Brady threw for 5,200 yards. People forget that Brady has a 5,000-yard season under his belt. He threw for 5,200. If I'm not mistaken, in 2010, he won the MVP.
More than 07.
Right.
Yes.
So when you look at it, 07 is the spectacular year, Skip, because he and Moss had something that we hadn't ever seen before.
Okay.
The 50 touchdowns to 4,800 yards, the undefeated season. But when you look at the record, now, Skip, for me, if Brady could do what he could do in 2007 now, with the talent, he legitimately throw for 6,000 yards.
Okay.
He would legitimately throw for 60-plus touchdowns.
Okay. Here's where you and I go sideways.
Okay.
Eye test. My eye test was even telling me in his last year in New England that he was still throwing the ball with the same velocity as ever because he never had a cannon to start with. He was just deadly accurate with a slightly above average arm. You thought his arm talent was in decline as he went to Tampa. And I said, no, it's the same. And then he goes into no risk it, no biscuit offense. And it's bombs away. And last year, he led the league in air distance. How far do you try to complete a pass? And it showed you he still has the distance and the mid-range velocity when necessary.
Right.
Well, he's obviously operating at the highest mental level anyone's ever operated because he's 44 years of age and he's been doing this for so long, and his pilot light remains lit because he is obsessed with watching tape and getting better.
So let me ask you a question. When you watched him in his last season in New England, why wasn't he putting up numbers like this?
Because he had receivers who could not separate. They were dead last in what they call separation.
Thank you. So
we got to see him on the bench during one game against the Texans yelling down the bench. You got to separate. Somebody's got to actually get open.
Thank you. So is he playing better, or has the talent better gotten around him and elevated his play? Because if you say he's the same. You said he looked exactly the same. So if he looked exactly the same, he should have been doing in New England the last year what he's doing currently. But he wasn't.
Well, you have to have somebody to throw to.
That's all, Skip. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And I didn't think they protected him very well last year. And now he's got a top 5 offensive line. But
again, when they talk about Brady, they make it about just Brady, and not everything around the offensive line is better than what he had his last year. The talent, I don't believe Brady has ever played with this level of offensive talent in his career in New England.
I'll buy that.
No one player is better than Randy Moss that he's currently playing with. I would give you that.
I also think he's better than ever. That's my eye test.
And Gronk. Now, Gronk is not the same Gronk that he was back then, Skip, but you still got to respect it.
Well, what's LeBron and Carmelo say? We can now beat you with our heads. Well, that's what they're doing.
No mercy. Over the weekend, LeBron tweeted, "Why do so many ball players work on stuff they are never going to use in the game? Seriously, question. Annoys me a tad. Internet detectives think this could be a shot at Ben Simmons. We'll post videos of his jump shot." Shannon, which player or players do you think LeBron is criticizing here?
I have no idea. I don't think it's Ben Simmons. I mean, I think he should be applauding if it's Ben Simmons shooting a jump shot. You would like to think your point guard could shoot a jump shot. You would hope if he doesn't have that in his arsenal, he'd be working on that. Forget if it's a point guard. Any player, Skip, that can't shoot the ball. He's working on things that he can't shoot. But, Skip, this notion, and I don't know what LeBron is talking about, so I feel like I'm shooting in the dark here, Skip. I remember when Steph Curry I would watch Steph Curry shooting in warm-up. I'm like, man, why is he shooting the ball? He know damn well he ain't going to shoot no shot like that in the game. And what happened, Skip? Dame Lillard, the same thing. A lot of what we see these guys do, you're like, why are they working on things they're never going to do?
Well, Steph shoots it from the tunnel. Right?
Thank you. And Skip, and the Euro step, used to see guys doing that like, bruh, that you walking, you can't do that. And lo and behold, everybody Euro stepping now. So to say, when you see these guys do things, trust me, they worked on it. Now, I don't know who LeBron is talking about, Skip. I really don't. But for me, the way I looked at it, I trained in the offseason in Atlanta, Skip, and I welcome guys. They want to come to the track and run with me. Have at it. Skip, if they didn't show up, they weren't on my team. I didn't give a damn. Good. I'm glad you're not showing up. Gives me a better chance. I feel a lot better if I play your team knowing that you haven't been working, that I'm going to beat you. So for me, I definitely don't think LeBron, considering that Ben Simmons is a Rich Paul client.
He's a clutch client.
He's a clutch client.
I do not think he would aim this at Ben Simmons.
No question whatsoever. So, Skip, like I said, I do watch some of the stuff, but for the most part, what I see guys working on, they're working on their game. The step back three, the Euro step, working on stuff that they would actually use in the game. So, I don't know the video that LeBron is talking about. But I feel very comfortable in saying I don't believe he's talking about Ben Simmons.
Okay, I got it. And by the way, Woj has just reported that Ben Simmons absolutely will not show up for training camp and will never again play for the Sixers. Not that that's shocking, but...
Skip, remember I told you after Joel Embiid and Doc said what they said, Skip, I said he never played. You're like, nah, they can work it out. I said, Skip, he ain't coming back.
I told you, I'm all for Rich Paul saying no to them because he is guiding and directing this operation. Now, I know they don't want to trade him because they don't want to lose him.
Because now, Skip, everybody knows he wants out. I'm going to give you peanuts. Skip, you got a card that I know you about to be in a divorce and you got to get up off of it if she go get it. I'm going to offer you a pen and a pack of gum.
Right now, the Sixers are classically damned if they do and damned if they don't, right?
You're never going to get the value because everybody knows you got to get rid of it.
Okay, they started it and now Ben's going to finish it, right?
But Skip, I'm going to camp. You're not finna find me no $200,000 a week. I'm getting that money.
Okay, now back to a very weird tweet by LeBron because I don't understand who or why or what annoys him.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to flip it around to me. I know what annoys me about LeBron, and I'm going to say it one more time. He is such a great player with one huge weakness, and it's just the free throw line. For the last 5 years, he's shot under 70%. So this is hypocritical to me because what I do want to see from LeBron, I've told you 1,000 times, I wish he would post a video of himself, even if you have to Photoshop it, making 10 straight free throws, 50 straight free throws. Go ahead, whatever you have to do to show me that you're actually working on your biggest glaring weakness.
Let me tell you what I've learned over the years is that the great people, no matter what they do, is not what they tell you, it's what they do. See, LeBron is posting this, but I can assure you, he's more in depth than what he's actually showing. He ain't gonna give you the secrets. Now I can tell you, I made this fried chicken or I made this dish. I'm not gonna actually tell you the ingredients that I put in it. I ain't gonna tell you that. I'm just telling you what the dish is.
On the sly, he's shooting free throws like 1,000 a day?
More than that, probably.
More than that? I seriously would bet a lot of money against that.
I would not. You would lose that money.
Really?
You don't get to, Skip, you don't get to be that level of a great player without working on the small things.
Well, this is your glaring weakness, and it's so small that you are so beneath your dignity as a superstar, shooting below 70% as a two-guard, as a point guard.
Name the player that could do everything.
I know, but this is the simplest thing.
God didn't give Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson speed.
This is called a free throw for a reason. It's free. You get to stand there by yourself from 15 feet and shoot it. And I'm going to remind you, he had a career-high 3-point attempts per game last year and a career-low 2-point attempts per game.
Right.
Why is that? Are you afraid of the free throw line?
Because y'all ain't giving me the calls. I drive the ball and y'all talking about
it's
so hard. It's like the Shaq syndrome. Shaq was so big. Is it a foul? Is it not a foul? No. If you foul a man, call it.
I don't want to shoot twos because I'm afraid to shoot free throws because I get embarrassed at the free throw line.
He sure wasn't embarrassed to shoot that in Game 7 when he hit those 2 clutch free throws to ice the game.
What 2 clutch free throws? I don't remember ever 2 clutch free throws.
And he hit that jumper on Kawhi at the top of the key. You remember that? And he hit those 2 free throws to finish it off.
All I remember is the last time Kawhi played him in the finals, Kawhi just owned him.
Don't do that.
You remember that?
Don't do that. The man, as a matter of fact, LeBron James averaged more in one final than Kawhi and Iggy together.
Guys, I'm breaking this up. No mercy. JJ Redick announced his retirement after 15 seasons in the NBA. Redick played for 6 teams and made 1,950 career three-pointers. Good for 15th most in NBA history. So, Shannon, how will you remember his career?
As a villain. I just can't get out of my head Duke. He was the second most hated player in NBA in NCAA history behind Christian Laettner.
That's true.
And most of the Duke players are up there except Zion. Zion is the most beloved Duke player.
That's true.
But he carved out a nice niche. He was College Player of the Year. He carved out a nice 15-year.
He's two-time ACC Player of the Year.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
It is.
And so with that being said, Skip, he had a very nice NBA career.
Okay, I second that emotion, but I hark back to my cold pizza days when the raging debate was Adam Morrison or J.J. Redick. And I was all about J.J., and Adam went third to Michael Jordan and lasted 3 years, but did get 2 rings with the Lakers, obviously, at 9 and 10. But J.J. Redick became a deadly three-point shooter, and he did lead the league 1 year for the Clippers at 48%. And I thought he made a lot of big three-point shots. You could trust him in clutch moments to make big shots, and he did have a very nice career, obviously not a star, but an occasional starter and a lot of times a finisher.
Yeah.
So I admire what he accomplished.
You got a family now. Kids are starting to get older. He wants to see them go to school and do things, and basketball keeps them away from that.
What a career, JJ. Skip Shannon, great stuff. We are back same time tomorrow. The Herd is on now. Have a good day, guys.